My mom's probably waiting. So.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Sexton's mother.
Hi, Sexton's mom. Hey there, beer tubers. Welcome back to Beer Analysis 101 with your host, Maxwell Starr. Tonight, we're doing a beer that Mr. Greggy Poo here sent me. Little Greggy over here.
Hello, Nicky Poo.
Little Greggy. He sent me this can of Great Lakes Brewing Thrust, an IPA. This is the New England style IPA version, apparently. But we'll get into more detail shortly. But first, let's introduce who we have with us tonight, starting with El Sexy Tan.
You mean Sexy Town? And yes.
Sexy Town. El
Hello.
Sexy.
Hello.
Sexnomicron of Sexton Brewing Co. How you doing tonight, sir?
Doing great. Glad to see all your ugly faces, and hope you're having a good night.
Right on. All right, and Mr. Greggy. Greg, how you doing tonight, Greg?
I'm doing great. I'm bored. There's nothing on the news today, so
yeah, very quiet news day, hasn't it?
It's been a real slow news day, so I'm just sitting back and enjoying my boredom with a beer.
Yeah, you might have to storm the capital of that beer.
I mean, good try, Nick. I don't think you quite. I don't think I hit the mark.
I didn't hit that one. Anyway, all right. So let's go back to the history on here. So, Great Lakes Brewing's Thrust IPA. We already know most of the history of Great Lakes Brewery. We know that it was originally began in Burlington, Ontario, in 1987. It was brewed by Bruce Cornish and a group of 4 investors. They chose the name Great Lakes because they had originally planned to open breweries along all 4 of the Great Lakes, which never happened, although there is a Great Lakes brewery in the States, which is unrelated. The brewery began as a malt extract brewery, making a lager and a pale ale called Great Lakes Lager and Unicorn Ale, respectively. Within 4 years, however, Cornish and his partners had run out of money, and to keep the brewery running, Etobicoke construction magnate Peter Balut Sr. agreed to purchase the brewery in 1990. Peter Balut Sr. made the switch to an all-grain brewery and relocated the brewery to its current location in 1991. Eventually, GLB would open as a retail outlet in the brewery in 2000, selling 6-packs of Golden Horseshoe Premium Lager and Red Leaf Lager in bottles. Red Leaf Lager, I'm pretty sure they still make today, actually. In 2006, GLB launched the Devil's Pale Ale 2066 at the Toronto Festival of Beer, which became one of the first craft brewed hoppy pale ales to appear on LCBO shelves when it was listed a year later, helping start the trend towards hoppier beers in Ontario. And finally, in 2009, with Balut Sr.'s health declining, the control of the company went to his son, Peter Balut Jr., and his daughter, and his kids. So basically, they took on day-to-day operations of the brewery, and this change brought in a more creative direction for the brewery, which introduced new brands and marketing that led to its new success as a craft brewery. Sadly, Balut Sr. would pass away in 2010, but leaving control to his family, but they are still running, still strong. Beers from GLB include Canuck Pale Ale, Pompous Ass English Ale, Red Leaf Lager, Robo Hop Imperial IPA, Octopus Wants to Fight IPA, Miami Vice Sweet Ale, Harry Porter, Long Dong Pilsner. We did Haze Mama last week. We've done a whole bunch of others. They also have like their Barrel Aged Solstice Stout and what's the other one? They have like Beer to Zeus. Can't forget Beer to Zeus, the barrel-aged barley wine they released. We did that one.
Solstice, which is more or less tied for our number 1 with Double Tempest.
Yeah, sure. All right. So so Thrust and IPA though is a 6.5% ABV, 40 IBU, New England style IPA, part of GLB's Tank 10 series. Whatever that means. Thrust was first brewed in 2012 and released to the LCBO as a special seasonal release in April 2015. It was originally brewed with Columbus and Citra hops and dry hop with Nelson Sauvin, but the original recipe was at 72 IBUs. At some point after its re-release in 2019 and 2020, the recipe was altered to be a New England style IPA with 40 IBUs. So the original recipe was an award-winning beer, however, winning gold at the 2014 Canadian Brewing Awards and silver at the 2015 Canadian Brewing Awards, as well as being named best seasonal / specialty beer twice at the Golden Tap Awards in 2014 and 15 consecutively. So, speaking of the person who sent this to me, I'm just going to bring you up quickly. Is there any more you can add about this beer? You said that the recipe had changed recently.
I don't think it's the recipe necessarily changed recently. It's that the New England style is a relatively new thing. I think it's, well, you probably said in your thing, I wasn't listening, but like it's only in the last 2 years or so the New England style one came out. It used to be a really popular. Their whatever West Coast, East Coast, whatever it was, and it's always been a weird beer for GLB. It's always been one that sells out very quickly. In fact, this batch I think was a little bigger and made it into the LCBO, but typically this is one of those beers where it goes to the brewery and you buy it the day of or it gets sold out. In fact, there was a lot of complaints because they brought out a batch right after COVID started. And it sold out like the evening of, and everyone was going on Twitter and Instagram, I think is the one they use mostly. And they were complaining like, why can't I get this? Why can't I do this? Part of it was also a very poor way that they were handling orders. And I still don't agree with some of the stuff. Like at that time, you could only buy it online. You had to buy minimum 8. So it's like, well, now some people 1 or 2 and they know lots longer, but whatever, that was their system. Still kind of is their system, although now they have the retail store open at least. Yeah, so it's not much to say. I don't know if the recipe's actually changed at all between versions, but I do know there's 2 distinct versions. And then there was one, which I think was a 1, maybe 2-time release, which was the regular thrust, but it was with a Vermont yeast. So I don't know, maybe like sort of a hybrid between these 2. I think I had it, but I don't really remember that it tasted all that different. So
Interesting. That's pretty cool, actually, Greg. All right, so let's go over to Mr. Sexton and say, what's your history with this beer? You're muted, by the way.
I was in the midst of telling you a great story that I can't restart, so I'm gonna have to restart all over again.
Oh no!
I know. Right? No, the last time I had this was in 2018. I don't think I had this last year. Actually, I'm pretty confident I did not have this in 2019, and I had it in 2018 when it was in the stubby can. So I'm willing to guess that it was probably from the older recipe before it got changed into what it is now, or maybe it was right on the cusp. I don't know. My notes don't really tell me one way or the other. So, but again, just like GLB, everything that makes it to the LCBO from GLB I've had. Yeah, I mean, they usually have pretty awesome IPAs, and I've found that they've been pretty mediocre lately, but let's see what we get.
All right. Anyway, move on to guy who's not by his chair anymore.
Where'd he go? And it's not to say that they've been mediocre, but they've just really been pandering to something that's not to my palate. With all the New England stuff, and I like more of a traditional West Coast and whatever. But I mean, they're still on the New England haze train, and that's their thing. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Sorry.
Yeah. All right, so let's go over to Greg and say, what's your particular history with this beard?
Well, without giving you an exact date, because I haven't bothered to look it up, I'm sure it's the first time I had it was my Night of Infamy. Oh, I never checked in the Vermont one. Oh, yes, I did. Okay, hold on. First time I checked this in, I'll tell you, I've had this plenty of times. I'm sure I've had every batch. Yeah, my first check-in is the Night of 500 Beers, November 1st, 2014. So whenever they released it at first, I had it.
Rough night.
Funny thing is, I've had it many times, and I'm usually not the biggest fan of it. Like I've never understood what the mystique behind it is, and I think that's partially why I keep rebuying it. I'm like, why do people love this beer? Like it's so many people's favorite GLB's beer. I'm not referring to the old one. I'm like, why is this beer? And I always want to retry every batch. I'm just like, is this one a little better? But I've never quite understood. I've always thought that they had so many other beers that they are less popular that I thought were better than this. But whatever, that's just me. But that's part of the reason why I've checked it in so many times, I think, because I'm always trying to re-anal it, as they say. And Oh yeah, the Vermont Yeast Ale one is here, and yes, and earlier this year they had a double IPA. Did I ever sent you that, Nick? I can't remember. A Thrust the double IPA.
Which is Thrust is a single IPA. Well, in this case, it's New England IPA.
Yeah, single New England.
They've always apparently been 6.9 ABV. It's the ABVs apparently.
Yeah, they had an 8.2.
The IBUs can change. Sorry.
I thought I might have sent you that one, but I guess I didn't. But
I don't know if you ever did or not.
It
might have been one of those beers that I drank by myself, and I'm giving you my history.
I sent it to.
I never reviewed.
No, Chad checked it, and I think I sent him one. I know I sent somebody one, but wasn't you, Nick?
No.
Well, there'll be another batch.
Yeah, I'm currently flipping through Untapped, and I'm seeing basically your entire history of drinking this beer. So, it's like most of a decade now.
Yep. Been a lot of drinking of this beer.
Yeah, but it seems to be like around 2019. It's now a New England IPA. Yeah, you tapped it in October 2019. It was a New England IPA.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, anyway, now that we've already kind of had me talking over you about beer history, I don't have any history with this beer, at least that I can recall. I could have sworn that maybe I tried it like either GLB when I was up visiting, or maybe Greg did send me a can one time and I never checked it in. But, I probably would have remembered if it was anything remarkable, but I honestly don't think I've ever had this before, so I'm just going to stick with that.
Stick with your guns there, Nick.
It's pretty reasonable, unless I sent it to you or you happen to be here right during one of their releases. I mean, it's.
When do they normally release it? I couldn't find any information that said. Some said.
Well,
said,
which brings me to the dating on my can. Mine is October 20th, 2020.
Yeah, mine's 2020, 10/22/20.
Okay, same batch, probably just two old. Greg, what do you have?
Imagine Greg's probably got the same age as I do.
And 22/20. Yeah, no, I bought Nick and I's bottle side by side, so but it's for a can. So whatever you guys I have.
The same beer that was on the shelf next to each other.
That's right.
Oh, so cute.
They touched each other.
Little beer brothers.
If one of them had COVID, they both had COVID.
Oh shit! I'm gonna get sick with Greg's COVID.
There you go.
Speaking of Greg's COVID, Ash, do you want to read some comments?
Yeah, I think we have 3. Lee says they shouldn't talk about their awards if they've changed the beer. It's no longer the beer that won, and I agree.
It's true.
True to that. And then we have a beer for breakfast, facts or snacks. Says great IPA.
They're great.
He's obviously a big fan, and check out his channel. And then we have Redbeard. Cheers, all. You can check out his channel if you want to.
Cheers, Redbeard. Yeah, if you really want to.
And you can also check out Lee Russell's channel.
That's true. I tied and buy.
And then we have Kent Beer Reviews in the chat. Cheers, guys. Cheers to what is that, like 1:30 in the morning in the UK? Check out
Still waiting for Craig's comment to pop up here, but I don't see it yet. So
yeah, Craig's in the chat. Cheers, guys.
Oh, there he is. There you go.
Check out Craig's channel.
Cheers, Craig.
Cheers, Nick.
Cheers, Greg. Cheers, Ash. Thank you,
Greg. Cheers, Red.
All right. So,
cheers, Chad, who's not watching.
I'm still thinking on this beer.
Mind you, Chad did do a review of this beer earlier and uploaded it. Coincidence?
Did he have a shirt on? Was he by his water heater?
I have no idea. He's always by the water heater because I think that's quite
the thing by the water heater.
So, anyways.
Well, as long as you get that little bit of Ontario class brought up to the Great White North.
You know.
So I've been growing my beard out for like.
Yeah, we noticed you're starting to look like a homeless guy.
Right?
Yeah. Actually, it doesn't look half bad on you, to be honest.
Not that bad, eh? And I got these like 2 white streaks right here. They're
I got that too. If I ever, well, you can't even with my stubble, you can almost see I've got a little bit of that going on here. But
I got a lot of white right along the jawline right there, both sides. My son today, as I was homeschooling, I was like sitting beside him, and he looks over. He's like, "Dad, you got a lot of white in your beard." I'm like, "Thanks, son. You're the swellest."
Oh, it's gonna be so funny when he eventually puts you in a home.
I know, right?
I'm doing a Google image search on Thrust and IPA, and I'm seeing, and I just counted 4 different pictures here of Drunk Polkaroo reviewing this same beer.
Oh my god!
Yeah, he reviews it every time he gets it for free.
Redbeard's in the chat. He's asking me, did I get some beard oil yet? And no, Redbeard, I haven't because it's not essential shopping. I haven't gone out for that yet.
There we go. See, Ashley Sexton's being a very responsible human being.
Yeah, I even had my beard delivered to me today, which was awesome, and it coincidentally came like 2 hours before this chat started, so I've had enough time to put my beer order in the fridge, which is awesome. And I've gone out for groceries on Sunday, and other than that, I went out for like milk yesterday morning or bread or something stupid yesterday morning.
Attaboy.
That's it. Doing my part.
Mm-hmm.
To not be a dirty asshole.
And Redbeard's being educational and saying you can very easily get beard oil online, apparently.
Yeah, but I'm out of a job right now, so I'm just waiting for my EI to kick in. That's
I guess that
I have to get the beer before I get the beard oil, right? Because priorities. No, I'm just joking.
Beer's more important. You got to spend your money on that.
Redbeard, I've honestly just neglected to do so, but I have been thinking of your advice. So,
Ashley Sexton's going to be responsible with his beard,
right? So there we go.
All right.
What are you looking up there, Nick?
I'm looking up there. I'm doing the graphics so I can.
I think Nick has found some of those naked ladies online.
Hey, ladies.
OnlyFans. Hey, girl.
Where's the OnlyFans? I demand it.
Lee fans like Lee Russell.
Yes, definitely.
So I'll read the next few comments and then I'll go to my thoughts. So Redbeard left off with the beard oil that can be very easily be ordered online. LOL. He's laughing at me like he's a fool. And then Lee Russell says it's squeezed from Red's own beard. That's really gross.
Ew, that's beard juice.
And then Redbeard says there's a company located here called Razor Toss. They make good beard stuff. And then Lee says that greasy ginger freak. And now Redbeard's laughing at Lee. So there we go.
Well, gives him something to do.
So
might as well jump over to Mr. Ash Sexy Town.
This beer, why it's different from a lot of GLB beers is that it doesn't like really fucking hammer home like Citrus Town. You know what I mean? Like they don't go to like grapefruit, orange, like citrus, shut down your throat, bittering and flavor and stuff like that. This is, but they also don't really go super tropical either. So basically, what we have here on the aroma is like anyone who's like been around like kids, nieces, nephews, whatever, with like those little fruit cups, and maybe you can remember them as a kid, like the ones where they say there's like tons of cherries in them, but there's like maybe 1 or 2. You know what I mean? And it's like when you look and it's just like white and orange. It's just like sweet mandarin, pear, some peach, and then like 2 cherries. So this smells like that when you open it, and then maybe with like a little bit of like mango, pineapple type of thing. The sip is very sweet. Again, very, very much lacking with any sort of like citrus note. It's very like white grape, fruit salad, but like sweet fruit salad, but with just like a tinge of something that's tart, like a mango or a pineapple. Very moderate carbonation. Yeah, it's like medium bodied. It sort of coats the palate quite well. Again, it's a little bit more on the sweet side. There's very little to no bittering whatsoever to it whatsoever. Drink super easy. It's only 6.5%. I wouldn't ever think to have alcohol on it at 6.5%. And it hides it. It's not there. It's very tasty, very well made. It's not my cup of tea, just because I like more bittering, a little bit more of a backbone, a little bit more contrast, like balancing. To me, this is sweet. It's tasty. It's different from a lot of other IPAs that are on the market for that for that one purpose, is just because it goes a little bit more like white grape lychee more so than like everything else. So
Lychee, yeah.
lychee. So yeah, I'll give this for style a New England IPA. I'll give it an 8.25. I think it's pretty good representation of the style. I mean, for personal preference, I'll give it a 7 3/4.
7 3/4.
7 3/4.
Alrighty, so 7.75. Alrighty, let's go over to Mr. Not Nick / Greg. Greggy.
Hello, Mr. Yes, Nick is Nick. I don't know what the opposite of not Nick is. Nick, I guess. Well, this is gonna, at the risk of making Joe, our good friend who's dearly departed, Joe, freak out and like that. Everyone's seen that meme of that like fat kid going because he's all excited and angry or something. I want to see Joe do that. Please, Joe, come back to us and be the retarded fat kid we want you to be. Anyway, at the risk of upsetting Joe, I firmly believe that GLB beers taste better aged in the fridge for a few, well, in this case, a few months. Because this beer tastes better than it did to me fresh by a good margin. Like, it's nice and smooth. I like that kid's little cup thing that I actually said, because that's kind of right on there, where it's got just a little bit of all these flavors. Nothing's too strong, nothing's too bitter, but it's just such a smooth drinking beer, and it doesn't overwhelm you with the yeast on it either. So, I mean, I'm really enjoying this, and I will say that I'm not going to drink my next one of these fresh, because not that I have any more from this batch, but this to me is just super tasty, super enjoyable. And I will say that I do think there's a little bit more bittering and a little bit more of an edge to it when you have it fresh. Not that it's that bitter of a beer anyway, but this is really tasty. It's a nice surprise. I have always liked the New England one better than I've liked the regular one. I never quite got along with the regular one. I always thought it was a fine beer. I never understood the hype of it. So yeah, that's style. I will give this a. It's almost weird. I'm almost like, especially drinking it now, like it almost tastes to me like almost like a hybrid. Like it's kind of partially New England IPA, but it seems to be missing a little bit of that yeasty flavor. So I really enjoy it. So I'm going to say style. It's a good 8.5 for me. I'm going to say overall enjoyment. This is also going to score an 8.5 for me. I'm actually very much enjoying it. It's not in the upper echelon, but it's, as far as a nice IPA goes, this is very pleasant, very enjoyable. And plus add my GLB bias onto it, that gives it a 12.5 out of 10.
Nice.
Homer points at 0.25.
Okay, so style. What was your style rating? I got the overall of 8.5.
Yeah, I just did 8.5 all around.
8.5. All right, cool. All right, let's go over to me. And I see where, you know what, I really like Ashley, and this is the caveat of following up Ashley. He nails all the tasting notes. In this case here, I really like his analogy of it tastes like one of those little kitty fruit cups, like one of those little Del Monte with the sugary juice and stuff like that. It's got that little bit. You're getting like, I'm getting from this like pithy stone fruit, passion fruit, a little bit of pineapple, white pear. Like the finish is kind of like like apricot, but it's like near the core, so it's like a little bit sour, kind of like it's not peachy, but it kind of reminds me of like the peach flesh near the core, where it's got this kind of sour, tannic kind of twinge to it. But yeah, like I feel like it's like a beer reminiscent of the fruit cup, where it's got that little hint of that cherry, but it's so marinated in sugary pear juice that it's kind of tastes mostly like a pear, but it's a little bit of hint of cherry there. The taste is muted. It's a touch vegetal after, even though it's 2 months old, it's still giving me a slight amount of hop burn. It's numbing the back of the palate just slightly, but it's not bad. The soda-y, it's got this kind of very soda-y look body, like almost not quite like soda water, but it's got that kind of little hint resiny kind of like aftertaste. a light resin. It's a very kind of sudsy carbonation to it. I'm not burping a lot or anything yet. Give me time. But so far, I'm getting quite a bit of carbonation, but it's soft kind of carbonation. It's light. It doesn't. It's not necessarily the most impressive tasting New England style IPA, but at least it goes down super freaking easy. It's actually pretty good in that department. Like if I could get how much was this, Greg? Was it like $3.50?
For most GLB things are $3.50. It was either $3.50 or $3.25.
Yeah,
I would have said like $3.50 or $3.60 or something like that.
Within that range.
Yeah, right.
If I could get that regularly for that price, I'd probably have be buying 12 packs like you do.
I've never bought a 12 pack of this, Nick. Do not
maybe you should.
Yes, sir.
All right. So my rating on this thing, I think it's a decent New England style IPA, although there are better out there. I'm going to give it an 8 for that, and for overall enjoyment, is 7.5, which actually means I gave it the lowest ratings. But whatever.
Wow, you tanked it.
I did, but I still like it. I think it's just kind of unimpressive. But I would drink this again and again and again. Don't get me wrong. All right, so where are we in the comments?
So we have Lee Russell on the screen with that greasy ginger freak, and then Redbeard laughs at him, and then Beer for Breakfast, Facts for Snacks is yelling at us while watching you guys. I'm enjoying Princess wears gold pants, hoppy belch, and golden nails. So good.
Why is it yelling so loud?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, when you do all caps, and that is a Soda City. It's a higher ABV saison. It is a tasty beer. Rainy on your parades in the chat. Yo, guys, just getting back from my DC protests. Drinking a Lagunitas. Militized anarchy rules. That's great.
There we go.
Travels quick, all the way from DC back up to the Northeast.
At the Portland, Maine. What is that? It's like an 8-hour drive. How'd you get there from like 2:30 in the afternoon from being inside the White House or the Capitol building?
And then he completes that with what's next week's beer. No question.
PA Brew News. Oh, cheers.
PA Beer. Yeah. Paul from PA Brew News. Cheers, gents.
Mm-hmm. Who also probably just got back from the DC protests.
From the protests, yeah. And, just saying hi to them. Rainy Your Parade says, yo, Ash and Paul says, cheers. And that's where we're at.
Oh, Ash and Paul. And, of course, cheers. Awesome. I will put us all this way, and I will try to do this math quickly and then get to the main question, which is, what's next week's beer?
Well, I finished my beer.
I'm almost done mine here. It's going down pretty easy, like I said. So
yeah.
Ash had to make the math on this thing a little more difficult and have to whip out a calculator because
why is 3/4? It's just 0.75.
0.75. No, I mean, never mind. I have to add it all together and divide it by 3.
Yes, you do. That's what you have to do every single time. How's Arnold doing there, Greg?
Oh, he's having a freak out. So I had to go and lock him up. He's, he's
locked up.
He was actually being pretty good lately, but talking to you guys just sets him off, and he goes nuts. So he needs to go in his cage, and he's like a child. He's exhausted and currently trying to fight going to bed. So.
Dude, you know what you should do? You should just take that Etobicoke condo money and buy a bunch of ear pods or whatever the fuck Apple calls their shit, so that he doesn't have to listen to us. And I guarantee you, if you wore wireless ear pods, whatever the fuck Apple calls them, your dog would lose his fucking shit every Wednesday night.
I don't know. You underestimate Arnold's ability to lose his shit.
Well, you live with him, not me. So you would know better.
He gets upset when we're surfing the net, and not paying attention to him on an iPad.
So demanding, just like his dad.
God,
he's very demanding.
What a prima diva.
He's gotten better. He's gotten more mature.
A prima diva.
From his grumpy days.
Prima diva.
Wouldn't that just be fucking James Prima Donna or whoever that dumb fuck face is?
God.
Whatever. I'll meet you at the other side of the bridge.
Meet me, punk. Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
All right. So what's this? The scores for tonight? Actually, not bad. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Who brought
Okay.
it down? Was it Nick or Ashley?
I brought it down slightly.
You know what? I said style 825 and overall 775. So
Yeah. Kind of met you in the middle. I think Ashley's the closest, although I'm the closest without going over.
I was a little bit higher.
Redbeard says that Arnold is upset he couldn't go to DC, which is probably correct. And then Paul from PA Brew News, he says, just got back to work after a lengthy quarantine. Daughter had the COVID.
Oh shit, that's not good.
Well, hopefully your daughter's okay, Paul.
She's young. I hope she's okay. And I hope you didn't get it, or if you did get it, then I hope you got over it.
I'm sure if COVID went in, Paul, it would get the fuck out as soon as possible.
Yeah.
No, COVID would die because of Paul.
Yes.
I don't even.
I'm pretty sure that COVID catches Paul.
It would be scared away.
That's pretty crazy, dude.
That's terrible, though, Paul. Hopefully your daughter's okay and everything is fine.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which I'm sure was the case. Obviously, if it wasn't, you wouldn't be on here listening to us dumb fucks going about beer. So,
yeah. Alrighty, I'm gonna stop sharing that screen because we pretty much know what the math is. Anyway, so let's get down. Considering the questions already been asked, we might as well introduce what next week's beer is. And of course, next week's beer is going to be another episode of BYOB, Bring Your Own Beer. And this next week, we're going to do Imperials. We're going to do Imperial style beers. Not necessarily
blow your water right now?
Not necessarily Imperial Stouts, but like Imperial IPAs, Imperial Stouts, Imperial Baltic Porters, what have you. As long as it's Imperial.
Now, Nick, because you're a man who rules with an iron fist, what are the requirements? Is there a minimum ABV that you'll accept?
8. I would say 8 and above.
Imperial. The only other exception would be like double IPA. If it's called double IPA, that's fine. But like it'll be an Imperial beer, like Imperial Stout, Imperial Baltic Porter, Imperial IPA. If it happens to be a double IPA, it's pretty much just an Imperial IPA. So the two are kind of interchangeable.
So the goal here is we need to find the lowest ABV Imperial.
and maybe this is
like an 8% Imperial something out there. Like
I'm gonna have this as a conversation on the after chat, but what is a double? So there we go.
Also, would like a Fax 10% count?
Of course it
no. Well, it's an Imperial garbage beer.
It's an Imperial malt.
It is
Danish, Denmark.
Would you want to do that?
Dutch is Netherlands, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Danish is Denmark. Okay.
Don't drink Fax 10%. Anybody out there, don't.
And then the comment from Rainy on Your Parade, when am I not drinking an Imperial IPA?
Well, you live in the fucking bread basket of double IPAs.
The bread basket or
8.5 or higher. Yeah, I was gonna say 8, but whatever.
Like Imperial Saison, Imperial. I even got an Imperial Black Lager out back, but it's like Imperial anything. That's the theme of next week. Is Imperial
Baltic Porter. Anyways,
yeah, like the Gonzo and the Gonzo Baltic Porter. Yeah, that's an Imperial.
Can it be like an Imperial Session IPA that's only like 5%?
Imperial Goza.
Oh, an Imperial Goza.
Oh, that's like.
See if there's an Imperial Goza. That'd be interesting.
Double the amount of piss.
It'd be like super the amount of salt.
So salty. That's gross. That'd be like a bukkake beer.
Oh, Jesus.
It
really does taste like urine. Imperial urine. It's Greg's Paul's Imperial urine piss. Imperial Sasquatch ale. Alrighty, so we got some last group of comments.
Okay, yes. Okay, so Lee's like, does double work? Okay, there we go. So I can join in. And then Paul says, Polish Imperial Stout is a bit thin but tasty. Redbeard says it's like he just read your freaking mind, Lee. Paul says 8.5% or higher. Randy on Your Parade says, when am I not drinking Imperial IPA? Yes, perfect. Lee says, I'm pretty dumb, so it's not hard. Redbeard, I've had an Imperial Goza. I think it was 6 points.
That'd be interesting. I can't see them doing we'll have to ask Redbeard later if he's on the after chat, but it's like I can't see it being like so salty that it was unpalatable, but I can see it being like heavier in percentage, but not heavier in the salt. At least I would hope not. I mean, gozes are nice because they're nice and sessionable and quenching. They got that little bit of salt that really quenches your throat. But you don't want to like downright salt water. And Ash, you're muted.
I think there's no reason for gozes to exist.
Ash, you're muted. Right.
It's loud above me.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to this week's episode as Ashley Sexton slowly descends into becoming a homeless dude.
I'm like halfway there, man. I'm like almost looking at like Keanu Reeves. I'm almost there.
No.
He's got the facial hair, which is threatening Jamie's dominance as alpha male.
Oh, well, I mean, listen, Jamie gave up the crown willingly. He abdicated.
No, I can't compete with that. There's no way in hell I can compete with that.
The only thing is, I feel if Jamie still had his mustache, he would have had to be in DC today. He just had that look to him.
So
Back when men were men and
sheep are scared.
everyone else was sandwich.
Redbeard says thoughts on the actual beer, a bit tainted. Quebec gas station bullshit. Oh, those fucking beers. Was it like Duty Ciel or something? And finally, Paul. I agree with Greg. Horrible brews.
Oh, gozas, they're terrible.
Key Lime goes, yeah, recently. I forget who you said that was from, but I remember you talking about it, and I'm like, fuck, a lime goes, it would be fucking good. Like that, those are two flavors that really would go good together. Like lime, like it almost reminds you like a Corona with lime and salt, or tequila with lime and salt, or something Mexican.
Unless it was brewed by New Level Brewing in Calgary, Alberta, at which point they would add a ridiculous amount of lactose.
Much lactose that it's like super milky and would make you shit your pants the next day. Trestle, right. The Trestle one. Your sister bought you a whole bunch of beers from for Christmas, or for Christmas. Anyway. I think we got that settled. So, yeah, tune in next week when we do some Imperial beers. I won't necessarily be drinking that one. I actually forgot that I even had one more of these there. I'm like, oh, shit, I've got an Imperial Stout left? Yes. All right. Which is all right. It's a bit thin, but it's super fucking tasty.
Yeah, big surprise.
Nick, do you have any Imperials that I sent you, or are they still, or have they been sunk down your gullet already?
No, I haven't hooped them yet. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Cheers.